Chargers beating the Raiders. I'm sorry. I have them. Wait a second. Hold on.
Because I can count 5 wins you just rattled.
They
Right
beat Oakland because Oakland's going to rest everyone. It's week 15.
I think Oakland
and then Baltimore beats them.
Yeah. Are they in Oakland or are they here?
They are at Philadelphia.
Then maybe.
Not they're fighting for a seat.
But the Eagles play 13 possible playoff teams.
Yeah.
So
that's a brutal schedule.
That's why I went 4-12.
It's gonna depend on
that's probably not far off.
Wentz's growth, I think. If he is what he's been hyped up to be, I heard he's fixed his mechanics, blah blah blah. It's all noise right now. It's the off season. Show me it on, in games, in real games. If he's fixed that, then they could be potentially
6 and 10,
7 and 8, or 7 and 9, 8 and 8. I don't see them getting higher than that.
That's best case scenario. I still think it's closer to the 4 wins.
I would say split the difference. I'll put them as like a 6 wins.
I'll give them 5. I'll give them the win against Chicago. I can change that.
Win
whatever.
Against Chicago or
San Francisco.
Maybe they get to 6 with those.
I think Chicago was a pretty bad team.
Chicago was a really bad team.
Bad.
And they drafted Mitch Trubisky, so it ain't getting better.
Yeah.
So
oh my God, that trade was horrible. Chicago should be ashamed of themselves for getting bent over the barrel and shown the 50 states in that trade.
We don't even know who's going to be their quarterback. Is it Mike Glennon, or are they just going to go with Mitch Trubisky? Anyways, so that's who I have at number 4. I have the Giants at number 3, 9 and 7. This was also a close one.
It was wrong. That's what it was.
So
how are you going to say the best wide receiving core in the NFL is going to go 9 and 7?
Because your slow quarterback doesn't have time to throw it to them.
He has 2 Super Bowl rings
with a better offensive line.
How many did Romo finish with?
Doesn't matter.
And he had the best NFL line.
Does not matter.
Your argument.
If Eric Flowers got replaced, there would be 2 more wins for the Giants.
Eli now has Brandon Marshall in addition to Odell and a rising Sterling Shepard. I don't see them being a 6-win team. I think they're...
I don't have 6. I have 9.
He has 9.
Oh, 9 wins.
9 and 7.
Oh, okay.
Giants make the playoffs with a wild card with 10 wins.
They could be... a 9 is fair, though. They might do better than that. I'm sure you're hoping they do, and they certainly could.
This defense it's the second year that this defense has been together after they sold the house to rebuild their defense last year. There is going to be more continuity on this defense, which increased its position drastically after 1 year from 2 years ago versus last year. And if they can continue that mold, they're going to be an even better defense than they were last year.
Right,
I'm not arguing the defense.
They have, a brutal schedule with the AFC West and the NFC East.
The NFC East has not been done any favors by scheduling this year at all.
No, they all have. And that's why I think they're all kind of not... I don't think, even though the Cowboys and the Giants have the best potential in the NFC East to be a 10-win team, the road there is so hard. And I think if one team does it in the NFC East, it's probably going to be the Cowboys. Giants are going to be...
I just can't see where the Giants are in any way going to have a less or more losses this season than the Washington Redskins. Because what are the Washington Redskins?
I would agree. I actually think the Redskins are going to do the worst in that.
Let me ask you, who did the Redskins? What did you have the Redskins record at?
One better.
One better? Swap them, and I think that's almost accurate, but I think the Redskins lose more games.
I have the Redskins at 10 and 6.
I think they lose more. I think they're like 8 and 8.
Way too high.
Didn't the Giants get the sweep last year, too, against Dallas? I mean...
Okay, yeah, so. That was last year.
Don't bring it up. I don't like it.
No. No, that's... I have... Let's see, what do I have?
But Eric Flowers is a huge liability for the Giants. And,
I'm not going to disagree with you.
I have them beating Dallas later in the season. So it's not...
Where are they to begin with? Are they home to begin with?
They're at Dallas.
To start the season?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have them splitting with the Giants.
Dallas doesn't like to play New York late in the year in New York.
No,
it's never been the case.
But yeah,
that's the thing that's keeping me from having the Giants realistically from being a 12-13 win team is that offensive line. Not just Eric Flowers, the line in general. And even if they had a running back that could block, and they were determined.
Well, Perkins is still developing. Let's not
Yeah,
jump
I like-
the gun
I
on
like
him.
Perkins last
He's
year. I
a
think he
better
could be-
running back than people give him credit for, but he needs to get used to the NFL game.
If they were able to get LeGarrette Blount, who could block out of the backfield really well because he's big, my tune would be completely changed, because then Eli would have time, at least enough time, to find super tall Brandon Marshall.
I mean, Brandon's there to be a target in the red zone more
And
or
to-
less,
and
and
pretty
to
much to
take
be,
pressure away
you
from
know,
Odell.
chucked to as like
A
you know,
bailout
if-
option.
He's-
If Odell's
He's-
route hasn't developed in time, then just chuck it to Brandon. And
He's like
grab
the
it.
elder version of what they had with Plaxico Burress.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
essentially what it is.
and without going to prison for a dumb reason or shooting himself in the leg or whatever.
The other thing, Brandon
Season's
Marshall's never been to
over.
the playoffs. You think he's going to change now?
It might be. He's motivated, and I think he's going to have
Well,
a heck of a season.
Changing
with
locker
a
rooms
good
in that building
quarterback.
gave him a lot better chance of getting to the Super Bowl. or getting to the playoffs.
Both.
Yeah, either one.
All right, then as we discussed, I have the Redskins at 10-6. Seems like we can
They
just
just lost Scott, whatever, their GM. They look dysfunctional, and I think it's the ownership.
I
with
think
Dan
it's the
Snyder.
front office in there.
You know, those Dan Snyders are just terrible people, as we all know.
yeah, we're all really bad people. But the reason I think it's going to be the Redskins were a good team last year, and I think they're going to be better because now Kirk Cousins has a reason to play. He's playing for a contract. It's 100% what it
Kirk Cousins
is.
has been playing for his contract, and they keep franchise tagging him.
Well, they can't do that next year.
I understand that, but that already sounds whistles and alarms for me. Because if this quarterback, not only did you have him franchise tagged, he went out and performed better. So you were reluctant to give him the contract the first time you franchise tagged him. Now you're reluctant to give it to him again. So what is the issue that is happening that you're not willing to pay him? Where is the disconnect?
I don't think it's
comes
him.
from the front office.
I don't
And
think it's him.
That to me concerns me because they have the effect on the rest of the bunch as well.
I really don't think it's him because
I don't think it is. I mean,
I don't think
if
it's
he's
Kirk Cousins.
willing
I
to
think
take
it's-
the franchise tag 2 years in a row, he's doing it for a reason, and that reason has to be coming from somewhere in that office.
he wants to be he wants to be a Redskin.
Well, first off, that's silly to begin with.
It's the team that drafted him.
That's
I mean, he
fine,
holds a
but
special
nobody
place in his heart.
Okay, well, I don't think anybody should want to be a Redskin.
All right.
That's my opinion.
So then we'll get to the Dallas
Again,
Cowboys.
it's better than being an Eagle.
Yeah, of course.
At least you have some history to fall back on.
I have the Dallas Cowboys at 12-4 with losses to Oakland, Atlanta, the Giants, and 1 second.
I could see that possible. I think you may be...
and Green Bay. Green Bay, Atlanta, Giants, Oakland are the 4 teams that beat the Cowboys.
I can see that happening. You may be in trouble depending on how the NFL wants to rule with everything that Ezekiel's got going on.
I'm still confident in Alfred Morris and the offensive line to
you
where
may be confident,
maybe it
but it's
sways
not
by
the same.
1 game.
Maybe.
Well,
yeah,
we also have to make sure
one or
that
two.
Dak wasn't a flash in the pan. He looked great, and he looks like he can keep doing it. But
We've also
seen people.
sophomore slumps before.
No,
Yeah.
you're right, and I'm a little afraid of that. The part of me that's not is because it wasn't necessarily his good play; it was his smart play.
Well, it's
that
also
was keeping.
it's also the fact that he doesn't have to do too much.
Right.
That old line does a lot for him. Having Zeke back there, even Morris back there running with that line, takes a lot of pressure off of him. So it may be easy. I just pump the brakes on any quarterback after a first really good year coming into their second.
No, you're
'Cause
completely
we
right.
have a tendency as fans and as people who assess the game as
To
setting the bar
players,
high.
not just quarterbers, players. Remember Peyton Hillis?
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah. Yeah. What's
Yeah.
he doing now? Working at Burger King?
playing Madden with him on the cover. But I think the Cowboys have Dak Prescott in a really good position, not only with the offensive line, not only with, I think, 3 good running backs. You guys seem to disagree a little on Darren McFadden. We'll put that aside. They've got 2 really good running backs. They've got the best tight end in NFL history, Jason Witten. I mean, we can argue maybe Tony Gonzalez is better.
Yeah, in history. Also, Gronk's not done yet.
Yeah, so we'll get to Gronk when
'Cause
Gronk's
that
time
man's
is up.
terrifying.
They've got a wide receiver in Cole Beasley who's just like seems to be able to catch anything that comes his way.
And they have a better pass rush this season.
They do, especially now that what's his name, Jalen Smith, is finally healthy.
Yeah.
They were saying that if he wasn't hurt, he 100% would have been Rookie of the Year.
Your team is very, very good on paper.
They
It
just
needs
need to
to
play
deliver,
together.
and two, people need to stop getting arrested. It happens every offseason with the Cowboys that somebody's getting
Who was
arrested.
it last season?
I don't know. I'm sure they were there.
I
It's like every year. It's
arrested
like
or in
clockwork.
trouble.
Arrested or accused of a crime.
Okay,
in some way.
because you got Randy Gregory who gets suspended like every week for drugs.
Well, listen, that I've come to accept.
He's
as
Le'Veon
being part
Bell
of the
2.0.
Cowboys. Yeah, I accept the Cowboys to have at least one or two bad apples that aren't just aren't going to listen to the rules. I get that.
Every team has them.
Right, but man, you can make a longest yards team out of the Dallas Cowboys that have gotten arrested in the last decade.
Still not as bad as the early 2000s Bengals when they
that's true.
had 6 weeks in a row of someone getting arrested.
I actually kind of expect that living in the city of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense to me. Like I could make that connection.
Any qualms about what I have for the Cowboys?
No.
Maybe I could see maybe an extra loss or two somewhere in there. It really comes down to
I can see
who
anywhere.
they have on the field.
I can see anywhere between 11-5 and 13-3 again. So 12-4,
Yeah,
I think is.
I think that's about
12,
fair.
11, 12 wins is where I'm at with them.
I say the Giants get the sweep again. It's just something to look out for.
Yeah, I think that second game
Potential.
against the Giants.
I think
is-
That's
I
when
think
I have
that's
the
gonna be
Giants winning.
That's why I think the
that could be
Giants
big.
have to
That could
be
be
bigger
big.
than
That
Washington.
could hurt momentum for the Cowboys, or it could spur them into the 1 seed for the NFC.
We'll definitely see on that. So let's move on now. We'll go to the AFC West. At 5-11, fourth place, I have the Chargers. Chargers are bad.
Yeah, I could even see them losing more games than that.
I
It
could too.
depends on
How many wins did you have?
5
5. I could get them. I think they're
between
a
3 and
6.
7. That's
yeah.
between 3 and 7.
Pretty much, it's a big gap for them because with their injuries and
Well, the thing is, they lost a lot of games they could have won last year,
Yeah.
which could make their record better. But in the same sense, you're blowing these games, so
the
you lose
offense.
a lot
The
more
offense
this
is
way.
blowing the games more than the defense is.
and
Wow.
they always seem like they're like a threat, the Chargers, and then they just just shoot themselves in the foot.
Because Phillip Rivers just isn't
you
doing
put
it.
No, I'm not a fan of Phillip Rivers.
Put him at 500 best for the season. So Jason Verrett.
They need to
and,
draft a new quarterback.
Jason Verrett and Keenan Allen come back healthy, right?
Well, that's the idea, but
I mean,
how many times have we seen
Mike
them be
Williams.
healthy on that team? That receiving core seems like he gets injured every year.
Yeah,
Keenan
and-
Allen last year's was like even more of a freak thing. Like he his spleen was lacerated. Like that was
even with
game.
Keenan Allen, I don't trust Phillip Rivers anymore. I just do
I
not
think
trust
Phillip
him
Rivers
anymore.
can deliver, but he's not. Phillip Rivers isn't going to win you games.
He used to when he was younger.
Yeah,
I
but
still
he
trust
was
him
really
as
good.
a
Doesn't have
backup
that
in
spark
fantasy, but that's about that's about as far.
Yeah.
I have a 2 QB fantasy league,
Me
and I
too.
don't have him.
I would have him as a starter.
I had Derek Carr and Matt Ryan last year.
That was a nice. That was a nice team.
I had a combo.
The AFC West also seems to be pretty stacked. This one might be a shocker. Coming in at number 3, I have Denver at 7-9.
Pretty
No, I think that's pretty accurate. They're
Realistic,
middle.
optimistic.
middle
in my
team.
opinion.
I think
don't
8 and
know
8
what
is
we have
best.
there. I don't know what we have on that
Yeah,
team. The
Simeon
defense
started
is good,
out
but
really well last year.
their offense
Threw
gives me
very few
cause for
interceptions,
pause.
and then he, took a dive to end the season.
Well, no, he didn't take it.
Listen,
They just
listen.
threw Paxton Lynch in. They were like, we're not even going to give you a chance. We're just going to. We spent money on this guy. We're going to put him in.
True.
That's what it was.
Yeah, Denver's-
And now they got Chad Kelly.
Yeah, they. I don't know. They have a
Last
lot
chance
of
you.
That's
Yeah.
chance you.
They have a lot of questions to answer, and if they don't at least answer some of them by the end of the offseason, then it's gonna be no fun to watch for Denver fans.
8-8's the best you can hope for them. They may even lose more than
They did
7.
answer one really big question, and that was tackle. They got Ronald Leary from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So they addressed the offensive line problems, but they didn't address who's going to be throwing the ball and who are they throwing the ball to problems.
Right.
So they still have Thomas, do they not?
Yeah,
They have DT
But
and Emmanuel
we've also
Sanders.
seen this issue because having one wide receiver isn't going to do it. NFL teams
Well, they have
shut down that
Sanders
one.
still too, right? He didn't